Thank you for coming back. Before we will take a final break for lunch, we'll take that second perspective. We're looking now at what is the devil's perspective of leadership. Thank you. What is the devil's perspective for leadership? Just as we see God talking to us about what he sees about the cruciality of leadership, we want to also see what does the devil wants to make of leaders. What kind of leaders would the devil want to raise or reduce men of God unto? Because he himself knows that leadership is crucial for any movement. And wherever there is correct leadership, the first thing that the devil wants to dismantle is to dismantle that leadership or lures that leadership to submit to him. I want to say to you that the devil is very strategic. If the devil has a chance to make a choice, the kind of people, okay, thank you. The kind of persons that the devil would like to aim at, he will not aim at members of a local church. Because to him, if he catches one church member, he has only caught one. But if he should catch a leader, he has caught them. So I want us to study this afternoon, before we break for our lunch. What is the devil's, what is his greed for leadership? What is his perspective that makes him to be very, very particular on attacking leadership? If he cannot take over leaders and make them his own stooge, what does he do to them? Because if there's anything that the devil wants to do, he wants to take over leadership. If a church is blossoming, the only discussion in the kingdom of darkness is not how that church is blossoming. The discussion in the kingdom of darkness is how can we scatter it? For the Bible says the devil cometh not but to do what? To steal, to kill, and to destroy. But you see, even in that desire to kill, to steal, to destroy, the devil has priority. And his priority is to steal leadership, is to kill leadership, and is to destroy leadership. If the devil has opportunity, and he said, yes, there are 20 people here who do not have any leadership influence, and there is one man here whose leadership influence is unending, do you know what the devil will do? For once, he will leave these 20 people and he will chase after that one man. You know why? He knows that once you catch a leader, you've caught the congregation. So this afternoon, we are looking at what is the Satan's perspective of leadership that makes him to And what does he do? Just as Jesus had a lot of emphasis on those who lead, Satan also has a very, very peculiar taste to destroy leaders. But I will then show you this moment what kind of leadership he would love to have, because he also has a desire for it. And we're going to read 2 passages, 2 or 3, but we'll start with 2. They're all around the same issues, but it will be all right. Let's read Matthew 26, and Luke 22. Matthew 26. Matthew 26. Matthew chapter 26. Again, the Lord Jesus Christ was meeting with his disciples. You see, the issues I'm raising with you this day, they were peculiar issues that Jesus called leaders. He called them aside to discuss with them. Thank you for that. He called them aside. You can imagine that chapter 26 of Matthew, this was where Jesus Christ called his disciples for the final supper. So it was a completely exclusive meeting. Complete exclusive to them alone. And I wanted to see what he said to them in verse 31. Thus says Jesus unto them, Matthew 26, 31, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd. And what will happen to the sheep? And the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be what? Will be scattered abroad. Before we come on that, let's read Luke 22. I wanted to quickly go to Luke chapter 22. Luke chapter 22. Chapitre 22. Luke chapter 22. And we'll be reading verse 31. And the Lord said, are you already in verse 31? Amen. Right. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith fail not. And when you are converted, strengthen thy brethren. And he said unto him, Lord, I am ready to go with thee, both into prison and to death. And he said, I tell you, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before thou shalt thrice deny that thou knowest me. I want you to keep verse 35 to verse 38. I want us to keep it. We are going to return to it because we're going to be dealing with the antidote. As we look at the perspective of Satan for leaders, we must seek the face of God to understand what is the antidote. How do we counteract it. But it was important to have an understanding of what is the devil looking for in a leader. Why is the greatest fight over nations is leadership? You see, the devil is not concerned about many things that you are thinking about. He only needs to grab a leader. Once he grabs a leader and destroys a leader, he has destroyed the work. Smite the shepherd. So, whereas many of us, we spend so much time focusing on the flocks, organizing program for the flocks, arranging meetings for flocks, and we invest so much on those kind of programs, and unwittingly, I use the word unwittingly, that is foolishly, we ignore where the battle actually is. The devil allows us to focus on everything else, but never to focus on the leader. How many of you know that the most lonely person on earth that have been isolated deliberately by the devil for slaughter are the people in leadership? You don't know. Do you know that when you have not climbed high on the ladder of leadership, you have more fellowship? You have more people around you that you are relating with that can speak into your life. But as you climb a little higher on the leadership ladder, you get quietly isolated. And you grow lonely. And why is that? The devil always aims, he says, strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. So many times as a leader, people don't know that it's the devil that is aiming at you. Many people think that as a leader you are okay. But if you understand Satan, what he is looking for constantly in the life of any man who is in leadership is how to strike him. I don't know what to tell you, but I must tell you that whereas Satan is fighting everybody, any Christian, Satan is your enemy. But more particularly, Satan concentrates on a man when he begins to shoot forth into leadership. The reason is because the devil believes in leadership. The devil places great priority on leadership. The devil knows that if you get a leader, you've got the people. So there are two things I see the devil looking for all the time. The first choice is if the devil can possess a leader. Are you getting me? If he can capture a leader and make that leader to be his own stooge. If he can make that leader to be his own stooge, that's good. And that was what the devil did to Adam. He simply got Adam and said, God does not want you to be something. I will hand over everything to you. And unfortunately, Adam gave in. And Satan took over. So whenever you see a leader, he is the first priority target of the devil. And sometimes, when I see young people rushing to enter leadership, I say, oh, they don't understand. They don't understand that you will quickly, and that's why, you see, when you read, I think, Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 3, he said, you must not make a novice a leader. You know why? Lest he falls into the what? Into the snare of Satan. The reason is because whenever a man shoots out for leadership, the devil notices him and targets him. And the reason is because strike the shepherd. What happens to the sheep? The sheep scatters. You see, if you strike the sheep and you've not got the shepherd, there is hope. The reason is because even the sheep that Satan strikes, while the shepherd is still intact, that sheep may not be lost. Because the shepherd can stand up and grab the bear by the neck and tear it apart by the grace of God. But when the shepherd is on his back, there is no hope for the sheep. So once a man climbs a little high on the ladder of leadership, he becomes the first priority target for the devil. There are different ways he does it, and I want to deal with it quickly. You might think that the first choice of Satan is to kill a leader. No. No. Please hear me very well. Are you hearing me? Satan is too wise. Has to first look for how to kill a leader. Even though killing a leader may achieve a quick result, but Satan knew that for every leader that he kills, there arises almost 3, 4, 5 ready to die again for the cause of the gospel. Killing a leader for the devil is the last option. What are his first priority? Let's study it. And we'll study it gradually, praying that the Holy Spirit will give us insight and understanding. I'm sharing that with you this afternoon for 2 reasons. First, if Belize is going to experience revival and a great move of God, whether politically or spiritually, leadership will have to be a matter. If I'm supposed to make contribution to Belize, listen carefully to me, brothers and sisters, I know that the major contribution I need to make here is leadership development. Amen. If we sincerely desire to see the move of God in Belize, the critical thing to do is to invest on leadership development. And whatever we can do to assist leaders to be the best that they can be, it will be the emphasis. So if I have space and I come back here and I only have meetings only with leaders and there are only 20 or 30 and that's all I came all the way for, it's never a waste. because that is the strategic point. And if the devil came to Belize and you give him 5 days to work, you know what he was going to look for? He would look for how to cripple any leader that is looking like a threat to his kingdom. He would like to cripple them. Once he cripples them, you see the devil will just put his hand in his pocket and say, we can go from Belize. We are finished. We are finished. Because finish a leader, you finish the congregation. Finish a leader, you finish the nation. Finish the leader, you have finished everything. So the greatest charge is who takes leadership. And once the devil gets a way to take the man of influence, he's finished. He knows that he has achieved what he wanted. So what does he do? What is his perspective on leaders? Let's take time now to study. We read, permit me to bring my Bible down so that I can follow you a bit. When I need to jump up, I will. I hope you don't mind. Do you mind? No. Okay. Luke 22. All of you go to Luke 22. And you will look at that verse 31. Verse 31 is a very little passage, but I would like to share with you what is the context of it. Do you know that Jesus was speaking? He was speaking from verse 25. Oh, you are thinking. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jesus, he was speaking right from verse 25. He was speaking about leadership. He was speaking about the way those that he is training to spearhead the move of God in the New Testament, the way they should understand leadership. That it is not like it happens in the world system. It is not like the Gentiles that overlord themselves over their people. He was explaining that. And suddenly, there was an interruption. Can you look at that passage very well? You notice that he was speaking in verse, up to verse 30. Can you see that he was one speaking? Then verse 31, can you see something? And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. It's like I'm preaching here. And I'm talking to the people. Suddenly, and then I caught somebody by his name. I say, oh, Charles, Satan is about to catch you now. That was an interruption. What does that show me? I want to tell you something that you need to know about Satan. Satan is a strategist. When nobody is watching, don't worry, it's here, it's in my pocket. Okay. When no one is watching, when no one is aware, when you least expect it, he creeps in. Then a very good meeting where Jesus Christ was speaking and they have just had Holy Communion and all of that. You don't expect that Satan would think of going there. But you know Satan, he was strategic. He was saying, which among the people that Jesus is about to hand over leadership to, can I quickly deal with so that all that he has been talking about for years will scatter? Thomas was there. Satan did not think if he took Thomas, he would do a big job. He knew that. Andrew was there. Satan knew that Andrew is a good follower. That the influence of Andrew is influence of one-on-one. If you capture Andrew, you will possibly have captured one or two more persons. Say, leave Andrew. But he knew that there is a Peter. You know Simon Peter is a man of influence. When Jesus is talking and said, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Who is likely to open his mouth and speak? It's Peter. Peter said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. He will say it. When other disciples were going and Jesus said, will you also go away? Who spoke? Peter will open his mouth and say, to who else shall we go? We know you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. So even if all others wanted to go away, as soon as Peter spoke, what happened to the rest of them? They kept quiet and stayed. He was a man of great influence. When they were on the water, and there was storm, and everybody was afraid, and they were saying, say ghost, and he said, no, it is I, be not afraid. Who spoke? Peter said, if you are the one, command me to come. And just said, come. And you see Peter, he took leadership, and he was going to walk on water. You see, if you have a leader that sees storm and decided to walk on top of storm, you know you have a leader to follow. Am I right? Now, when Peter was showing those leadership traits, and Jesus also was focusing on Peter, because he has seen a man that if he gives him the key of the kingdom, are you hearing me? Yes. That man will do well. So while God was focusing on Peter, Satan was also focusing on Peter. You must never misunderstand this. Leadership is crucial to Jesus, is also crucial to the devil. So you see, Jesus was spending time on Peter. He would take Peter aside. He would take him to the mount. Even on the Mount of Transfiguration, when, you know, Jesus was being transfigured and, you know, the glory came down and what is his name? Elijah came down, Moses came down. Who spoke? Peter said, Lord, it's good for us to be here. Let's be 3 tabernacle here. That's a leader. He has a leadership quality that can move the purpose of God forward. And Satan is saying, if I also want to destroy the work of God, who should I catch? So while they were all there, I'm telling you that many of them were there. Bartholomew was there. Matthew was there. Thaddeus was there. But Satan didn't think catching any of those ones is catching something. You get what I'm saying? Satan knows. He said, look, if you catch this one, you've caught nothing. You're just wasting your time. You know, there are times that the devil will send demons out. And when the demons have gone round, they went and caught somebody and brought him to hell and said, we caught this Nazarene. Get away! Is that the one I told you to go and you caught this one, what can you do? This one is nothing. No good. Go back! I'm looking for men that are critical. I'm looking for men that when they speak one word, people are totally affected. That's the one we need to affect. So you see, he sneaked in. He saw Thomas by the road. He didn't pick him. He saw Andrew. He saw Philip. He saw Nathaniel. These are good brothers. Many of you are good brothers. But since you don't carry any serious leadership fire,